The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host for another day. Once more into the breach, dear friends. We've got a market that is incredibly light volumed and light in trading. As I brought up before, when sailors would be out sailing from England to the West Indies, now Cuba, I guess they call it now. When they would go across major lines, I think it's every 15 or 20 degrees, there's a thing called a Coriolis effect, which means that normally each time you go through one of those latitudes, the wind direction changes from east to west and west to east. As you hit the border between those two, it's not uncommon to find a prolonged, if not days, if not weeks, of just no real breath of wind in any direction. Always the test of a sailing ship to sit in there and wait for the winds to come. It was not uncommon to see 2 or 4 weeks of a 3-month journey as they crossed those borders. And today I think we've got the definition of doldrums out here. Just incredibly light volume, no real push. Very interesting, very light volume attempt at the very open to push some stocks higher, some of which that I'm short. They're back well within the trading range now. But no real pressure in, no real pressure out. We've got a little bit of angst, I think, and one of the people are I think the markets are somewhat holding their breath as the IMF decides how to handle the Greeks leaving the Eurozone. That's basically what the discussions starting yesterday and the day before were about all weekend. They don't have a good answer yet. We're at 2110 on the S&P cash, 1.8 billion shares. So volume is light, but of course we pretty much opened up at the highs. And right now the question is the total lack of interest from people not thinking that this market can't go higher or lower? I guess you can almost make this a Rorschach test. What I know is that in markets like this, probably best to pick a side and stick with it than get caught up and die from 1,000 cuts, the death of 1,000 cuts, which you could if you're always chasing these up and down and up. You know, maybe if you got 30-minute trades, maybe not such a big deal. But if you're trying to swing trade this, it's incredibly choppy trading. And the question is, as we hit 2108, which has been kind of the border of the S&P, how is this market going to react? It's been literally no buyers and incredibly few sellers today, if we can probably characterize this market as anything. But we'll keep an eye on it here. But my guess is that we've got some pretty incredible action, starting with Apple. It's off $1. If there's a stock that they can push, it's certainly Apple. They pushed it this morning up to 127.28, and it came down about $2. It's off $1 now. It seems to be going nowhere fast. And if you want to talk about a stock stuck in the doldrums, this 125 to 127 area looks very, very tough for Apple either to go higher. And I guess we can only assume that Apple's in there buying below 125. But we cannot tell. In the meantime, I do digress.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1979, software developers Dan Bricklin and Bob Frankston introduced VisiCalc, the first electronic spreadsheet. Suddenly, the PC can save hours of tedious work for its users, and suddenly, investment bankers have a tool that allows them to calculate the changing values of leveraged buyouts and corporate mergers almost instantaneously. The spreadsheet is one of the secret driving forces behind the LBO and takeover boom of the 1980s, as people who can't or do their own math acquire the ability to place values on their business. And I had to, when I read this, I thought, you know what? I was doing something yesterday, and I handed a young lady $200, and my bill was exactly $136. So I was going to get $67 back. She literally could not do that in her head. And I thought, at least maybe I got an advantage with us doing flashcards and stuff when I was young. I guess this young lady was maybe 30 years old. But do they even still try to teach math and multiplication and division anymore? Anyway, it miffed me a little. But as I go to an aside, I met Dan Bricklin in 1980. It had to be early 80 or 81. I'm going to say 1980. He came and spoke to our computer club, and very interesting, showed what spreadsheets were. I asked him at the time if he had copyrighted or trademarked it or patented it, and he basically had a kind of a, for a guy that came out of business school, because this is where he saw it. They used to do big things on chalkboards in his business class. And that's where he saw it, and I think in about 1976. And he started doing it on other things. But this was when it really became useful. He actually had worked on some for a mini computer or a mainframe somewhere early on. And for some reason, that product didn't take off, probably because it was ludicrously expensive. But of course, in 1979, the Apple II was coming along. He wrote it for that, and it was kind of an instant hit. Most people don't know that Apple would probably, without Dan Bricklin, be just a stone on the road to computerdom. Apple was probably going out of business, much like they were probably going out of business in 1986 because they had a product that was in need of a killer app. In 1979, the Apple II was nothing more than a toy for computer lovers like me. I had one. But it had no real practical invention. I just loved computers. But other than a few games and some other stuff, not much for you to really use. I was learning to program on it. I kind of got out of it because it was just, Apple was so horrifically expensive. I moved, I think that year or the year after that, to Commodore 64s. It's just so much more cheaper as a hobby than anything else. But there were absolute tons of MBAs falling out and coming out of schools at that time. And of course, the first thing they did was buy Apple IICs and set up spreadsheets and show everybody how they can put things in the general annual budget instead of the annual general budget. If you know that, Monty Python aside. But it is a very interesting day in that. Anyway, Dan, I talked to him for probably 30 minutes. I bought him hamburgers after the computer meeting. I took him down to a little pub on 63rd Street. We had some beers. I bought him some beers. Talked to him about being a programmer. I was very interested in the time. And talked to him about patenting them. And I think at that time, he probably could have easily patented VisiCalc. But he made like $2 or $3 million. And he had no interest in it. He had made all the money that he thought he was going to need in his life. He didn't want any of the headaches of working for anything else. And of course, Lotus 123 picked up on the deal, and I think VisiCalc was a distant image in the rearview mirror by 1983 or 4. And by 1990, Office had come out and really put Lotus 123 in the background fairly quickly. So a couple of different things out there. But Dan Brooklyn, pretty good guy, but a real hippie. He had no belief in patenting his product. If he would have, I think he would have been one of the first billionaires from Silicon Valley. But he made his money and left. I think that's all you have to say. Is this parrot dead? No, not from that part. If you watch The Meaning of Life, there is a 10-minute movie that almost dwarfs the actual movie, and it's about accountancy. I don't know if you remember that, but they're basically taking the propeller blades off the ceiling fans and fighting with each other. They hang out big things, and their big offices turn into sailing ships, and they fire at each other. It's a great first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie. Actually, half the movie budget was spent on that 10 minutes by I do digress. Guess we ought to actually get into the stock market. I don't know if I brought this up. Yeah, I think I did on Monday or on Friday last week. So not a whole lot there. Okay, let's move on. To get on here. And what else do we have? Anyway, that was history today. And what else do we have going on out here? We're at the decision point now at 2108 on the S&P cash, 1.8 billion shares. And the question would be whether or not we're in risk for another gap up. I had somebody email me that. And the answer is you're always in risk. The reality is that what you don't want to see at tops is a total lack of interest. And today, I'm kind of seeing a total lack of interest. The other thing that really bothers me is that maybe we're not going down, but maybe we're not going up. That may be another option for us out here. I saw the latest survey of bulls, and we're at 97.5 for industry professionals. There's only almost nobody, probably me and a handful of other people, that are still bearish on the market. And it probably, I don't think that this is, I think we're close to a 30-year high for the particular survey that I was looking at for bulls and bears. And maybe that's it. Maybe there's just there's not one bull left, one bear turning into a bull, buying anything left up here at the highs. Doesn't mean we're going lower. But there's got to be somebody on the opposite side of the trade. And you need some new bulls, and I just don't know where they're coming from. Where have all the bovine gone? Long time passing. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And as we come back, looking at a few stocks moving out here, and for the most part, market's kind of moving as a one big blob. And probably most notable out here is that the IWM tried to put a pretty good push on it. Now just up 40 cents out here, but we're kind of coming back. Of course, that 5,000 mark on the NASDAQ is also more psychological than anything else. But as we look at that, what can you say? 5,003. Again, on Friday afternoon, I don't have a good opportunity till I get back home to go through the charts and look and see what happened light. But, you know, they kind of try to push this thing up. There isn't a lot of juice out here in the market. We got to 50.17 on the NASDAQ. It's not, you know, a index that I look at a great deal. But I think what we're looking at here is a test of 2108, albeit with very little juice either way. Speaking of juice, we've got gold off $6. We've got silver off 18 cents. Crude is down, what, 27 cents, but solidly back under $60. We've got a lot of nitwits yelling and screaming about $100 gold again today, I think from the cartel, but I don't know if that means anything anymore. And, of course, we've got some other things moving, but it's kind of quiet. The dollar index is up a bit. Where is that out here? It's up about 15 cents. It was a little higher, up about 45 cents earlier. But just talk about a dead market. It is tough. Oh, this is Parrot, just like this market. Yes, yes. Maybe I see it now. Maybe I see it now, Mr. Z. Anyway, a lot of the stuff moving out here isn't moving on, I think, anything other than some bogus upgrades and downgrades. Zillow had a pretty bad earnings cycle. They're basically saying come out and buy it again. Other than this gap up, I don't see a great deal in it. You still have a high volume low back at 81.07, which is the April 14th low that really needs to be tested out here. I think that was the earnings date. Other stocks of interest, if I can find my info here, that we have Monster Energy, another one of these faux upgrades, most likely to get people out of their short positions. This thing came down, of course, on pretty heavy volume, and they're trying to counter move it today by telling everybody, don't pay attention to what he said in the earnings call. Forget what they said about their future. They're all making it up, which makes me think that there's probably some big guys trying to hold this thing up. Why, on the other hand, they're out there selling. It got to 139.02. I think there were a lot of people short this stock, even when it was up here at the highs. But back into a gap, it got in there with a great deal of volume compared to the gap up on the 27th of February, which had 6.2 million shares. We had 10 million shares on Friday after earnings on this, and we're up on, what, three and a half? To me, a lot of the games going on here, and not a lot new on that. More upgrades out here that are rather self-serving. Caterpillar, I see nothing that radically changed in the last couple of weeks for them, other than the fact that we'll probably have some people wanting to get out of this one. The big thing is the big downturn and the gap that happened on that downturn that started on the 5th of January this year, came in at 11.3 million shares. We're turning about 5 million shares now. So as you get into that gap, which is just at 90 bucks, that would be pretty tough, but not a lot of juice, but a little bit. And again, a lot of this, I think these upgrades and downgrades have a lot more to do today, especially with people running a few shorts out of the market. Etsy, which is one of the new IPOs out here, it's only been out for a few weeks, was downgraded already. These folks put together artisans who make one-of-a-kind kind of things like woodworkers, doll makers, and all that kind of stuff. If you're not familiar with Etsy, another one of these things that kind of interesting, because Craigslist has been around for a long time. It's never been turned into a big to-do, mostly because the owner of Craigslist is a certified hippie from San Francisco, and he's happy making the money he is, kind of just like the guy that invented VisiCalc. But why these folks went public is beyond me. That they get downgraded after a couple of weeks of trading? Interesting. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're going to go to a caller in just a second. I'm looking through earnings for after the bell today and earnings for tomorrow. And I just don't see a great deal out here that's going to move the market, at least for earnings. But I do digress. We're going to go to Chris in the Indian-named town in Wisconsin. How you doing today, Chris?
Hi, David. Nashota.
Nashota. Okay.
Yes. Can you take a look at TLT? It's moving down strongly, about 8 million shares traded.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a whole lot to question out here. The top's in, and you broke a 35-year trend line. And what else do you need to know?
Can you take a look at October 1's bar candle of about 17 million shares traded, strong up? You think that might provide a little support?
That huge volume day?
Yes.
See, 37.5 million shares. That was a spike. You know, basically, was support where you already threw it.
Are you looking at October 1?
I'm looking at the huge volume day in the TLT on the 15th.
Yeah, I see that. That was a down day.
Well, yeah, but it spiked higher, right?
Sure.
Okay, and everything from above that never had 37 million shares. So everything above that was a false break. You came back into the trading range, right?
Yes.
And so when you're talking about the first, I don't see any volume in here that would say that there'd be a great. You're talking about the 1st of October in 2014, right?
Correct.
I don't see anything in there. I think you're talking about that day right there. But yeah, what do you have? 17 million shares? Yeah. But when you have a reversal of something that is as big as 35 years, it just doesn't stop. It's like the gold market when it took off in whatever it was, 2000. I mean, within the first couple of weeks when it took off, I think there was one stock we had at TFNN. I can't remember what it was. It was like YY something or other. Maybe if Tom's thinking about it.
Would you think about possibly buying TVT or the TBF ETF, which shorts the 20-year?
What kind of time frame are you talking?
Swing
trade, or you going to sit on it for 5 years, or what?
A swing.
I'm not big on probably trading this on a swing. I would think that you'd want to, now that you've had a 35-year move that's reversed, you probably ought to be thinking some pretty long term. It'd be like, again, I'll go back to gold. When 13 years of it doing nothing broke, the thing was to sit on there and play it for a 10% move.
Sure.
The thing to do was grab a hold of it. When you get something that's got a movement like this, my first thought is that you want to be thinking long, 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 because these things, when they break, are long-term trends, just like moves in the dollar. Once it got above 84, it went all the way to 100, really. And I think you're going to see something very similar in this. So I would be thinking about maybe long-term calls. Long-term calls or puts on one of the indexes, depending on which you go long or short. To me, that would be, when you get something that breaks this long, if you want to play bonds, I would be thinking, 3 months, 6 months, a year down the line. To me, this bond market also tends to be incredibly choppy, and I would probably much rather want to get a much long-term or much longer-term outlook on this. But I don't see a whole lot short-term where you want to play this for a swing trade. It could go either way on you. I think you've got a great trade out here if you want to take, 3 months, 6 months, a year down the line.
Would you wait for a price increase on TLT to buy in on the short?
Got to see what the end of the volume is here today, but generally when these things reverse trends like this, you just jump on, because and just hold your nose and look away, because I'll guarantee you, buying. I think my first gold stock I bought was BGO at $0.25. And it went to $2, and I thought, woo wee! Of course, it went all the way to $6. So I was a sap for selling out early, right? Made a lot of money. That, when you get these change of trends, if you're going to play them, I would really sit down, look at a lot of it, study it, and figure out where I think the severe long-term trend is. And this one, I think, is going back to about, like in the TLT, I think you're going down to 105. I think that's it. Let me go back here and look just a little longer. Take this thing back. I was thinking there was somebody, 102 and 103. I think you're probably going to head on down there in a hurry. So to me, in a hurry, 3 months or 6 months in bonds, right? But
sure.
I think, I would not be playing this on the short term. You've got such a beautiful setup out here that's confirmed. That you want to probably be thinking very long-term on this.
All right. Well, thank you.
You bet. We're going to go to Robert in Paramus, New Jersey. How you doing, Robert?
They're doing pretty good. A great show.
Thank you.
I had a question about NTES. Does that look like it's topping and it might be a good short, or I was wondering what you thought.
I tell you what, let's take a look at the indexes since I was busy talking. And Let's pull those back up just to make sure what's going on. Okay, 2109. We're not doing much here. Well, you've got a completed ABC. You got a test to the top. Technically, you would like this thing to probably close below a 9-day moving average, and or if we go to the displaced moving average, you'd want it to close back below that. So the answer is yes. I like the law. I like the doji. I like the light volume. I'm just trying to see if this thing has a high volume low out here that has been untested, and it really doesn't. You had the $95 level tested on lighter volume down here at 95 bucks. Where do you thinking this thing can go?
Yeah, definitely down to 120.
Yeah. You probably could get that.
Down.
I just think that I'm watching 10 stocks today that tried to push higher on no volume, that have like high volume lows or big gaps. That would be the only thing I would like to say on this one is that's it. You know when earnings are?
A couple days. I think Wednesday.
Yeah, I'd stay away from it. It's on the 13th. So it's just going to hang out here until the earnings date, and then it's going to skip one way or the other. To me, it's always a 50-50 deal because they may be doing well, they may be doing horrible, but it doesn't matter. The CEO can say anything he wants. He can move some cash around. It may be another 3 months before you get the ball to bounce your way. If this thing just kind of goes sideways and no volume, maybe you could play it after the earnings call. But to me, this just looks like they're holding this thing up into earnings. And depending on what they say, this thing's going to have a nice move. And, I just don't know how you predict that because it's mostly the headline, not the reality of what this thing's doing, right?
Yep.
So there's a lot of stocks out here, I think, that probably, after the earnings call, probably better. But there are a bunch of the stocks already had earnings not all that great, and have fundamental problems with their companies, especially in the tech area. And I would hop on one of those short probably more than I would this.
Okay.
I don't feel convinced. Let me put it that way.
Excellent. Thanks for your opinion.
You bet.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
Bye. And I guess the hard thing to do for somebody on the radio like this and having their own problem is always have a opinion about something. Sometimes just no opinion, and it's tough to tell going into a couple of days before earnings, but my guess is this thing's doing nothing before earnings and doesn't really look like, other than it's completed its ABC up maybe, and maybe it goes a couple of bucks higher out here. So yeah, we'll continue to look. Stocks like this one, Intap, some of these stocks are down on lighter volume, but are still going down. This one I thought be interesting to see over the last couple of days. 3 days it went sideways. Today it's broken down. It needs less than 5 million shares. The April 1st low at $34.94. And that's it. I think this one is in the news, if I'm not mistaken. Downgraded, yeah, so what can you say about that? But maybe they're trying to get a little better price. I don't like the energy from this last gap up. I mean, it pretty much acted exactly as it should have, in that it came down with some energy on the 24th of March with 6.2 million shares. It came into it was 3.7 million shares on April 29th for NetApp. And maybe you get 5 million shares here today, which is all you need to continue for lower prices on this one. Talk about a rocket ship, CALM, C-A-L-M. Let's take a quick look at that, C-A-L-M. Huge move in this thing, Cal-Maine Foods, and I think there's a little more to this, but a huge upgrade to this one. And again, a lot of these stocks with a very light volume environment, you see these rocket ships both up and down. And for all I know, they were found a bunch of people napping out here in short positions in Cal-Maine Foods and pushed this thing up. It's got volume, But my guess is if I looked into this thing, we would find out it has got high short interest. DEG is up 15%. Nice, huge gap up on it. And again, rumors of a merger out here. No real push out here. I don't know anything about this particular stock. Let's do a little quick profile on it. Food supermarket also operates other store formats, including proximity cash and carry and specialty stores. In addition, the company sells its product to affiliated stores that are operated by independent third parties. The Delays Group. Anyway, big volume push out here, and $3 up, and that's what you get in very light volume trading most of the time. So nothing new. Didn't seem that interested. A lot of upgrades and downgrades that seem self-aggrandizing for the people that did it in this light volume. ACT. Take a quick look at that one. If I can actually type it in. There we go. Again, you can call me at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. What else do we have going on here? We're kind of bouncing around these lows. So what do we got going on out here? I missed the low on UGAS. Where do you see it pulling back to for an entry? Let's take a quick look. Question on where you should buy UGAS. I would like it to probably fill about half this big candle from the April 30th day that had 92 million shares. My guess is that you're probably going to see that. I just don't see a lot of reason. You know, if you had a nice trade out here, that's nice. But I don't see a lot of reason to think that there's an abiding belief that natural gas is going higher until we get into probably July or August in the hotter parts of the month. I think we could easily come back to $2 on this one, and that's where I'd be looking. But wait until it gets 95 degrees in the Midwest and they start really using natural gas out here, and we start getting a few of those contracts signed for this fall to see what this thing's doing. But, you know, light volume pullback today. You're still on the trend line, but I'm thinking that I'll be able to buy this probably later in the summer at about $2. And I always wanted to grab natural gas for a big move, which is going to be probably 2 or 3 or 4 months this fall, if it can come back and get halfway into that candle on lighter volume. And that's Mr. V-Text, who does not tell us where he's from. And let's see, what else do we have? Okay, SMHs. And see what we have on those. We've been talking about this asymmetrical pattern out here, and boy, if you want to talk about an asymmetrical chart, if anything, it's the semis out here. Just looking like, go back and look at Apple. This is exactly like this. And, lower highs, higher lows. Eventually, this thing's going to bust out one way or the other. We'll be back in a minute. Give me a call, 877-927-6648.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Do you know the 7 most critical factors that influence every decision you make, and how not knowing these will jeopardize the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve? I'm Steve Rhodes, morning host of TFNN.com, and for the last quarter of a century, I've studied and used the secrets of human growth, the same formulas used by leaders of nations, billionaires and millionaires, and the most successful athletes on the planet. Would you like to break through any obstacle that gets in between you and the success you deserve? Would you like to turn fear into strength? If you could find a way to achieve, be fulfilled, and live a life of meaning, wouldn't you want to know the answer? I'll teach you the factors that control your state of mind and the drivers that impact every thought, emotion, behavior, and action we take in my new webinar, The Psychology of Trading. Join me for this 2-part online event where I'll unveil the secrets to human pattern recognition, because they're not what you think. And soon, you'll have the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on The Psychology of Trading to begin your journey now.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we come back, we're printing off here at 2107 on the S&P cash. So it's going to be a very interesting close. Just 2 billion shares. And one of the things, you don't like, basically you got 2 currents here. You don't want to be at high with no or light volume. And we had a little bit of volume on Friday, but it wasn't big and it wasn't anything that confirmed a breakout. You also don't want a lot of indifference up at highs. And if there's complacency and indifference, to me, it's everywhere. So we'll have to see how this market closes out here. But we could have seen the third breakout and false break up and break down, I think, in this market. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I think you're best if you just stick to a position and stick with it. You'll probably be better off than getting the death of 1,000 cuts. See Tom O'Brien warming up in the bullpen. He'll be here for the next 2 hours on most of TFNN.com. But other than that, kind of tough to see. This market is moving like it's got glue in it. But 2106 now, and just very, very light trading. And my guess is that we've got something, or there is something coming out. I speculated in the newsletter this morning that it was Greece. And that Greece issue. Maybe it's something else out there coming out of left field. A lot of times you keep your eye on one thing and somewhere else it comes out. But saw, some acts of probably close to desperation in the Chinese market over the weekend, with them yet again dropping interest rates. I don't know if that's going to matter at all to those folks over there. In fact, at the end, I think the index was up about 1%, which kind of tells you how tough it is after you've been up 40% on a lot of those markets in Asia to keep anything going. But I think we're long overdue for a surprise. And my guess is that surprise will be to the downside. Again, just too many stocks out here. I've got one that was pushing its highs. It's got about 750,000 shares now. Needed about 2.5 million shares, pushing back into those highs. So, I continue to look at options. And I wrote in my newsletter this morning also that the option market makers have done nothing. They did nothing on the way down. They've done nothing on the way up, and they're basically saying that the center point is somewhere around 2085 on the S&P cash. Now, maybe that's because they don't know, or that's where they expect it to go. But basically, there's 20 points on the upside, or 40 points on the upside, and 40 points to the downside. We've tried the upside. If it fails here, I would look for, before the week is out, a test of 2040. Which is on the very low end of the statistical edge of where they are playing options. So, would it be a big deal to see this thing drop, 60 points in 4 or 5 more days? I don't think it would. Not guaranteeing it would, but at the same time, don't see any energy on the way up. And, of course, we've had tests on the way down. Could it be a draw with us expiring at 2080 on Friday's close? It certainly could be, but kind of tough to tell right now. I think there's a little bit for everybody in this market. One thing that there isn't is a abundance of bears, and we've got to find some new bulls, I think, if we're going to go any higher in this market. Just going to take a quick read here. I mean, volume at the end of the show, I'm trying to remember if there has ever been one where we've just had 2 billion shares on a regular day in the market, especially coming off of Friday. None such yet. Anyway, keep an eye on that market, see whether or not the NASDAQ closes under 5,000 today. Certainly it's underneath there right now. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. So when you can, not when you have to.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.